What is going on, Alpha Hunters? Hopefully, you are having a very terrific Thursday. We are towards the end of the week. Not quite there. We got one more day to go, but let's take a look at what's going on with the markets. Real quick heads up. Don't forget, tonight in the U.S., there will be the first presidential debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. So, tonight, futures might be a little wonky. Tomorrow, we might see some volatility. So, just a fair warning, because that stuff will usually create some volatility. So, just be mindful that we do have that kind of going on this evening. All right, what's going on across the markets? Not a whole lot. Kind of a quiet day. SPY, not really much of a gap. Nice little pump there to kind of start the day. Kind of coming back here over the past 30 minutes or so. Yeah, it's kind of a flat day. All right, Qs. Also, kind of a quiet day, only up 0.1%. Kind of a flat open, nice pump there. It's come back here over the past 30 minutes as well, 50 minutes. All right. Yep, there you go. IWM, nice little bit of a gap up here. Currently up 0.3%. Nothing crazy, a little bit of a run. Kind of start the day, coming back down here the last 30 minutes. Nothing crazy quite yet, though. DIA, a little bit of a gap down. Nice run. Currently up about 0.2%. Nice bullish trend here to start the day on the DIA. Okay, looking pretty good there. RSP, basically flat. Slightly negative as of this very second, but a couple seconds ago it wasn't negative. So kind of a flat open there, kind of just chopped. A little bit negative, a little bit positive. There you go. That's how the RSP kind of looks intraday. And it is hanging on to this 100 simple moving average. I mean, you just see how many times we have bounced on that and we've stopped making new highs. So typically, kind of how that goes is we will break down. And maybe that happens today, the rest of the day. Maybe that happens tomorrow. Maybe that happens early next week. But you can see we're just kind of bouncing on the 100 moving average, but we haven't made a new high since before we started actually bouncing off that 100 moving average back in early April, late March. That was the last time we made a high there. And, we've been bouncing off this 100 SMA now for the past 2-3 months. So even highs are kind of coming lower. So lower highs, higher lows. We're getting to a point of time where something's going to happen here. And you're probably just going to go with it. Most likely, in my opinion, probably be a drop off. So, wouldn't be surprised to see that sometime soon. DIA. The interesting thing about the DIA is also having, higher lows, but it did make a little bit of a higher high compared to like that early, late March, early April kind of time period with that mid-May. Did make a little bit of a higher high, but we've made, it's kind of hard to say this is a lower high because, it could just be, this could all be one uptrend here for the past, for pretty much for the month of June. We could just be in an uptrend. So it's kind of hard to tell that until, we break down or something like that. So, we'll just have to wait and see there. IWM. So it has kind of broken this downtrend line. I'm going to take this line and get rid of it. And the question now is, are we going to get back over this like 201, 202 level? We've had a really hard time getting over it and holding. We had this huge gap up back on June 12th, but we just sold all the way back down below that level over the next 2 days, 3 days even. And we haven't really held over it. So out of the past couple of weeks, those 2 days that we were over it, we just saw a lot of selling to push us right back down below it because that gap up was so large. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We'll have to wait and see. To me, it's still kind of consolidating here. If you're like, you know what, I like the low volatility time period that we are having because we have been sideways. And you're like, which way do you want to go? You can go bullish or bearish, and then you just kind of have a stop loss, or you're doing this with calls and puts, right? You're going out further out in time. You're buying a call. You're buying a put. But you say, hey, if it breaks this level, I'm going to, breaks this bullish level, I'm going to drop off the put. Breaks this bearish level, I'm going to drop off the call. And you just ride it one way or the other. And you're kind of hoping that once it starts to make a move, the volatility uptick you get on the options kind of outweighs the losses that you might have on the other side, whichever one you're going to kind of drop off there. So anyways, hopefully this makes a move here soon. I do like the low volatility time period, so if you did want to play that, not a bad idea, honestly. Qs. Well, Qs. Well, we did bounce off that 10 EMA here the past couple of days. We are trying to run higher, but we are forming an upper wick so far today. We'll see if we'll see what happens by the end of the day. But yeah, if we keep pushing higher, at the end of the day we close kind of high, kind of towards the daily highs or something like that. Then I would expect we just kind of continue to run. But if we sell down and come back down, this might set up for the beginning of a more extended pullback. So today might be a kind of an important day. Today and tomorrow, since we're going to have some pretty big catalysts tonight and tomorrow morning. SPY, same kind of deal, but the SPY is not really bouncing as much, right? It's really been much more hugging that 10 EMA. So we'll have to find out. You know what? We might have that answer tomorrow. Check it out tomorrow's live stream. We might have a little bit more clear answers about which way we are running soon. VIX dropping off, but not really getting back down to the lows that we were seeing in late May. So just kind of hanging out, not really doing a whole lot. DXY, a little bit of a pullback day today. How does this look intraday? Just kind of curious. We did have a little bit of drop when we got the jobs data this morning. Speaking of, let's talk about some data real quick. Initial jobless claims is the data we kind of got this morning. We also got some revisions to GDP, not really too much change there. But initial jobless claims came in at 233K. The forecast is calling for 236K, so a little bit under than what the forecast is calling for. And it's not really, it's good. It's always good when you come in under forecast, but the forecast has been ticking higher over the past couple of weeks. That's kind of the thing. And, the 2 weeks ago, we had that big jump, and we haven't really, we came in on the actual data 2 weeks ago at 242. Last week was 238, and obviously this week 233. So the forecast is coming up. Might have been just a little bit of settle out here on the jobless claims over the past couple of weeks from that huge jump that we had 2 weeks ago. It might take a little bit more time to see how that kind of works out, but yeah, tomorrow morning we also do get a little bit more data, that PCE, which is heavily watched for inflation. So we'll see what that kind of comes in at tomorrow as well, on top of the presidential election debate. Sorry, not election, but debate that will be going on tonight. So tomorrow we could be having some pretty good catalysts. But intraday, though, the DXY is starting to bounce here. We'll see what happens by the end of the day. And if it does bounce a little bit more, this is going to set up pretty bullish, as we have a nice little bullish candle yesterday. And if we have a pretty significant lower wick today, man, if you see that on a stock chart, you're taking that bullish all day. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with the DXY tomorrow, but looking pretty good. Oh, GLD bouncing back today. Look at that abandoned baby kind of action there. 1 day abandoned baby. Yeah, GLD is just in a choppy area. Probably just accumulating positions there. 10-year yield. Nice pop yesterday. Pulling back a little bit today. Probably dropped off from that data we got this morning. Yep, data we got this morning had a little drop off there. So we'll see what's going on with yields. Tomorrow, unless it overtakes this entire candle from yesterday, it's not really... it could still be in an upswing here. Well, 10-2 inversion, kind of just hanging out, not really doing a whole lot of anything. HYG, bonds might not be doing a whole lot of anything either. HYG, not really doing a whole lot of anything, just kind of hanging out there. LQD, nice bounce here on the LQD. So the question is going to be: was this a breakdown that we just had yesterday, and is this the retest kind of into these levels? And are we going to continue lower, or do we just have a quick snapback yesterday and we're going to bounce? So, yeah, I mean, you can kind of go either way, honestly. If it goes against you, you just kind of flip your position. And TLT kind of has the same thing, kind of hitting into that 10 EMA on the daily, could drop off again. So yeah, bonds might not be done going bearish, but could just had maybe a 1 day pullback, a quick snapback, and maybe they continue to go bullish as well. So it's kind of just at an interesting spot. All right, now as far as sector rotation goes for the day, we do have real estate actually leading the day. We're seeing pullback on yields, so that makes sense. Real estate's at least doing good, but they are leading the day. Communications, XLC area, so Alphabet and Meta look like they're doing pretty good. Tech, XLK doing pretty good. Discretionary is also doing pretty good. Industrials, utilities, still kind of outpacing the day. Utilities actually a little bit underperformance there. Did I just move it too far? I did move it too far. Utilities and energies slightly outperforming there. And then material staples, healthcare, and financials at the lower end of the day. As far as intraday, kind of how things are going intraday, real estate, utilities, tech, communications, financials in line with the market is industrials intraday. Discretionary staples, materials, healthcare underperforming, and the energies at the lower end of the day, intraday. Wow, okay. All right, so I'm going to quickly look at the heat map here, but I want to talk about, the big stocks, these big ones. Which ones do you kind of still want to be getting into or not? I know NVIDIA's had a run, so we're going to talk about a little bit of that. But yeah, you can see NVIDIA having a little bit of a pullback today. Apple's kind of flat. Microsoft, Alphabet, Meta. So this is why the XLC is doing really good. Google, Meta doing really well. Amazon and Tesla's kind of flat. Amazon's up 1%. So big tech, not NVIDIA, doing pretty good. All right. So what's really interesting about a lot of these big tech guys, like taking a look at AAPL, had a pretty good run here. And, for all of the great things that a lot of these companies do, AAPL maybe looking to obviously jumping into the AI race and fully, getting all their devices caught up on AI. Like they're still going to need AI hardware, and that's where I would rather be. So AAPL, they're going to be buying AI hardware. Microsoft looks really good to me. This is not a bad play, kind of going forward, just because they are hosting so much AI with their Azure cloud. It was a great business idea, great business model to kind of going into it. They're kind of developing their own AI. Microsoft, I think, is a pretty safe play, in my opinion. And even, AAPL, Apple, is indirectly using Microsoft's cloud for AI services. So, I like it. I think Microsoft would be a good play. But Microsoft's still going to be buying AI hardware. Same thing with Alphabet. Alphabet, they are still going to be buying AI hardware. They might be doing some great things with it, but they're going to be buying the hardware. Meta, same thing. They're going to be buying AI hardware. Looking pretty good here recently, but they're still going to be buying AI hardware. Amazon, we don't really hear too much about Amazon. Had a nice little breakout day yesterday. Excuse me, a little cough there. Had a nice little breakout day yesterday, but they have their AWS. They're still buying, AI hardware and stuff like that. although there were some reports that they were kind of dialing that back a little bit, which to me is a little concerning. Don't really know how much of that is true or what the extent is, or maybe just one group in Amazon is dialing it back. You don't really know all the details like that. But they're going to continue to probably most likely need AI hardware. And then so is Tesla. Tesla, some people make the case that Tesla is an AI play, and that might be the case. This, you know, that's a case for you to be made. And then you have Nvidia. They all of those companies that we just talked about, the other big tech stocks, all the other tech stocks with the most money, most cash on hand, are all buying AI hardware from this company, Nvidia. And any kind of pullbacks that we see on Nvidia, you should be buying. I'm not saying go out there on daily call options and go bullish, but you're probably accumulating positions. There was one call yesterday, or I don't know if it was yesterday, but I saw a video yesterday that basically someone said that this thing's going to go like 250 and be $6 trillion by the end of the year, and that's even a bit aggressive. That's a bit aggressive even for anybody that wants to be bullish on Nvidia. Like, you don't know how investors or when investors are gonna get in on something. I think Nvidia is a great play long term. They essentially have a monopoly on the AI hardware market because their technology is so good. They're not anti-competitive. Their technology is just that much better than everybody else's. They're down 2% today. Not a big deal. They had a multi-day pullback late last week into early parts of this week. Like, if you can get it down into like the 100 area, yeah, you're looking pretty. You're gonna be looking pretty good. I mean, I would like it. I would just continue to develop positions in Nvidia. Even if other companies start to slowly kind of catch up with technology, Nvidia is still going to be in position to where they can continue to push new technology and be the innovator in this space. Will there be another company come in like AMD? AMD is probably their closest rival in the AI chipset space, in my opinion. That's in my opinion. Yeah, there probably will be eventually, but Nvidia's just clearly that much better than everybody else. So don't make mistakes. To me, I think this is going to be easily the play. I was, man, I wish I was live streaming back in like the mid 2010s. This is because the semiconductor space was the one area I felt like was the clear winner going forward, because all the tech companies out there, they are all saying they need better processing power. Uber, Lyft, all these companies that wanted to do self-driving, Airbnb, right? They were all saying they need better processing for trying to figure out like price models and stuff like that, like real-time price models. That's what a lot of these companies were trying to do, real-time pricing. And they were all, which, I mean, to extent is kind of AI is like adapting in real time. But that's what a lot of these companies were wanting back then. And so am I shocked that Nvidia has kind of got their round peg into the round hole? No. Like, some company was eventually going to do that. It's crazy to see it happen, because when you think about it, you never realize how fast it happens. Especially like stock price appreciation, just how fast they wind up going from. They're a $3 trillion company, roughly. What are they? Just over a $3 trillion company right now. I mean, they were under $1 trillion a year and a half ago. back in October of 22. I mean, it's nuts. It's just nuts. And there's no reason why all those companies are going to stop buying AI hardware. They kind of have to maintain their essential business going forward. So I'm not saying buy calls, daily call options or daily put options, but be responsible on continuing to develop positions into the things that are going to be really good. The other spot I think is going to be really in demand going forward is going to be energy. I mean, we've talked about that many times. Energy, CEG, nuclear type stuff like that. So if you can find better ways to invest in nuclear, always let me know. I mean, I'm our energy investment, because all the data and processing power that these chips are requiring is putting a strain on the energy markets, and that's probably going to be the next great, really strong bull run we're going to see is in energy. So let me know what you guys have, what you guys want to talk about. I mean, whatever. What are your thoughts? How you plan the election maybe overnight? Or not the election, the debate overnight. Other than that, man, I think there was, who had earnings? Was it Micron? Micron had earnings. Let's talk about Micron had earnings. So Micron, 2 quarters ago, I think started to see a little bit back in December when they reported. They started to mention that they were having a little bit of an uptick, or was it this one back in March? I think it was this one back in March. Where they started to have a little bit more of the uptick in demand for their memory chips for AI hardware. So if demand is that good, they shouldn't be dropping all that much today. I mean, they're down 6.5%. Maybe they got a little bit ahead of themselves. Let's check the financials here. Let's just check financials. How about that? So, revenues. I mean, look at that growth in revenues on Micron. You should be buying the dips here on Micron. That looks pretty good. Yeah, it was last quarter. It wasn't 2 quarters ago. It was last quarter where they had that blowout quarter. And you can see how much revenue they grew again. Let me go to statements. Let me go to income, revenue. I don't want year-over-year growth. I want quarter-over-quarter growth. You can see last quarter. I mean, year-over-year growth was 15.5%. This quarter was 58%. So yeah, Micron's looking pretty good. I'm surprised it's dipping as much as it is. I mean, they're going to be another beneficiary, going forward. They provide a lot of the great memory chips into those AI areas. So Micron would probably be another really solid area to be developing those positions as well. I'm going to check some off, names not all that kind of popular, like Seagate Technologies. They also do memory stuff, but some of the companies, this is what I'm going to say. So some of the companies out there, they do peripherals, like computer peripherals. Even though you buy as a consumer, like a Seagate or Western Digital, we'll talk about Western Digital here in a second. You buy a memory disk or drive, or external or internal or whatever, and it might be a Seagate brand. It doesn't mean the components are Seagate. That might be Micron, right? They're just, Seagate's more of the brand that you're buying, and Western Digital is kind of another one of those. So they do make some of their own components that go into them, but you really need to understand which of these companies is making the essential components rather than just kind of the supplement components, right? The actual data storage and stuff like that that you're probably talking about, might be coming from Micron and Western Digital, Seagate, some other companies like that. That might just be using those main components in just in their peripherals and that kind of stuff. So you can also see Western Digital also here in computer peripherals. Curious who else is in there? Arista Networks. Yep. Arista Networks, NetApp, Logitech. So Logitech's another one. Like a lot of people buy Logitech brand stuff. Like I use a Logitech keyboard. They make really good stuff, but they don't really develop the internal components, and that's what we're kind of talking about. The internal components part is the more important part. That's the area where Micron really has a good. I'm gonna check this one. I've never heard of this. Pure Storage. EPS diluted growth up 800%. I'm gonna check this thing out real quick. PSTG. So this thing's been around. This thing's been around for a while. I've never heard of this thing since about 2015. I like how it definitely interacted pretty well with the IPO price. It's looking pretty good here recently. So what? Learning time. PSTG. What do they? What do you do? Because your stock chart looks fantastic. Where is profile? It's always annoying when I've not gotten used to Yahoo Finance's new layout at all. So the Pure Advantage. Nothing is harder than making complexity feel simple. At Pure Storage, we're up to the challenge. So what are your solutions? Of course, they have an AI solution. Application development, cloud, database. What are your products? So platform management, platform storage. And I wonder which one of these actually is driving a lot of their growth. So it seems like they not really a physical, more of a software to me. That's kind of what it looks like. Enterprise, scale up in performance. Services first, AI ready, foundation that grows with you, mitigates risk, cuts costs, eliminates. All right, so it's just a typical cloud service. Cloud service type or data storage type. Company. But man, that stock chart looks fantastic. So yeah, they're doing pretty good. I was just really curious on why they were having one heck of a huge run there. Yeah, they're not. Never mind. They're not really seeing like a huge uplift in revenue recently, like Micron and Nvidia. Curious. I'm gonna take a look at AMD. So AMD's not really getting a benefit on AI stuff like Micron, Nvidia. What about AVGO? AVGO is even down today. Yeah, like AVGO had an uplift like the last quarter. That was it. I think Micron would be a better play over AVGO. My opinion. TSM. TSM is the one. This is the company that's actually making, right? They are actually the foundry that's making all this NVIDIA chips and stuff. And they even said they're going to start raising prices on NVIDIA because they're taking up all their order space. So it makes sense. I would do that too if I was them. I'm like, dude, you're taking up all of our processing, all of our production. So yeah, we're gonna raise prices on you. And it makes sense. Like NVIDIA's not gonna be able to keep their margins on their AI stuff, forever. People are gonna start cutting it in or start cutting into it. But Taiwan Semi, man. Not a bad spot to be either. I think I would be probably wrapped around 3 companies. And I get it, that's some concentration, but you can go the NVIDIA. That's probably the lead dog there. TSM, I wouldn't be like all into those 3, but like if you have like, hey, this is the kind of funds that I'm going to set aside for semiconductor AI investment, I think NVIDIA, TSM, and Micron would probably be the 3 you're going to go with. Micron might be a really good sleeper just for the simple fact that even if other competition comes into the space, people are going to continue. These companies are going to continue to buy AI hardware, and Micron's going to be buying. They're going to be the ones supplying the components. They're the ones coming up with the components. So, not a bad way to go. And TSM obviously is the foundry making it. So, yeah, Micron, I'd be bullish on any kind of pullbacks. I'd be buying today. Alpha Hunters, don't forget, we do have presidential debates tonight. Probably see some volatility tonight in futures. And expect probably some activity tomorrow. Especially if one of those presidential candidates kind of really comes out clearly in the lead. You'll probably see some funds allocation and stuff like that happen. Alpha Hunters, have a great rest of your day. Take care.